You wake up feeling that deep exhaustion, that weight, like you carried the world on your shoulders all night, even after 8 hours of sleep. You look in the mirror and see that belly that keeps growing, even though you're eating less than you did 10 years ago. Your clothes are tight. You feel that discomfort on your right side, just below your ribs. And when you go for your routine checkup, the doctor frowns, looks at you with that serious expression, and says your liver is fatty, your enzymes are off, and you need to change everything now, or things will get worse. You leave the office with that feeling of helplessness, thinking you're over 60, that maybe it's too late, that your body doesn't respond like it used to, that you're condemned to live with this forever. You watch your grandkids playing and wonder if you'll be here to see them grow up, if you'll have the energy to enjoy these years you fought so hard to earn, or if you'll be stuck in a chair, tired, sick, dependent on medications and doctors. But what if I told you there's something simple, something you can start doing today? A drink that can literally clear the fat from your liver and give you back your energy, your vitality, your chance to live these golden years with health and dignity? What if I showed you that after 60, when everyone says it's too late, it's precisely when your body needs it most and can benefit the most from this solution? I need to tell you a story that completely changed how I see liver health in people over 60. 3 months ago, a gentleman named Paul, 72 years old, a retired engineer, came into my office. With tears in his eyes, he said he was ready to give up. He had just had his annual tests and discovered his liver was in an advanced stage of fatty liver disease, with AST at 210, ALT at 230, and the ultrasound showing severe fatty infiltration. His cardiologist had told him that if he didn't reverse it quickly, in less than 2 years it could progress to cirrhosis, and then there would be no turning back. Paul looked at me and said something that broke my heart. He said he felt he had wasted his life taking care of everyone but himself, that he had worked 45 years to finally enjoy his retirement, and now that he finally had the time and money to travel with his wife to see new places, his body was telling him his time was up. He asked me if there was still hope, if at 72 it was still possible to reverse such a condition, or if he should just accept his fate and wait for the worst. And it was at that moment that I realized how much chronological age deceives people, how much this belief that after 60, everything is lost destroys lives that could be saved with correct information and simple interventions. Look, I've been a hepatologist for over 25 years, and one of the biggest lies traditional medicine perpetuates is this idea that after a certain age, the body no longer regenerates, that reversing liver disease is a privilege of the young. The scientific truth is exactly the opposite, and I'm going to prove it to you with data that will surprise you. A study published in the Journal of Hepatology in 2023 analyzed over 3,000 patients over 60 with fatty liver disease and discovered something revolutionary. Those who adopted a specific nutrition and supplementation protocol were able to completely reverse the condition at an even higher rate than patients in their 40s. You know why? Because after 60, when a person finally decides to take care of their health, they do it with a discipline and commitment that younger people rarely have. They no longer have excuses of overwork, lack of time, or conflicting priorities. They understand that now is the time, that there's no guaranteed tomorrow, and this urgency transforms into impressive results. If you've made it this far in this video, I know exactly what's going through your mind right now. You're wondering if it's really worth trying one more time, if after so many empty promises of miracle diets and medications that didn't work, this information will be different. And I completely understand that distrust because I see it every day in my office, people who have tried everything and are tired of false hopes. But I created this channel precisely for you, for the person over 60 who has been diagnosed with a fatty liver, who feels time is slipping away too fast and needs real solutions based on true science, not internet fads. Every week, I bring updated protocols, recent studies that many doctors still don't know because they don't have time to read scientific journals, and most importantly, I bring hope grounded in evidence. Subscribe to this channel now and hit the notification bell, because in the upcoming videos, I'm going to show you exactly how to reverse every symptom, every abnormal lab result, every complication that fatty liver can cause. You deserve to live your golden years with health, energy, and dignity, and I'm going to guide you on this journey step by step, because you are not alone in this, and together, we will get your liver back. But before I reveal to you what this drink is that can literally clear the fat from your liver, I need you to understand something fundamental about what's happening inside your body right now. And I'm going to explain it in a way that no doctor probably has before, because unfortunately, most professionals don't have the 15 or 20 minutes necessary in a consultation to truly make you understand the seriousness and, at the same time, the reversibility of your condition. Your liver is the only organ in the human body capable of regenerating itself completely, even after losing 70% of its functional mass. This means that even if your ultrasound shows severe fatty liver, even if your enzymes are 3 times above normal, your liver still has an incredible capacity to heal, as long as you give it the right tools. But there's a window of opportunity, and that's exactly where the danger lies for those over 60. Let me break it down for you. When you consume refined carbs, sugars, and trans fats, your body converts them all into triglycerides, which then get stored in your liver cells, the hepatocytes. At first, this is reversible. It's just accumulated fat, like dirt that can be cleaned. But if you keep up the same habits, this fat starts to inflame the liver, and that's when you enter the stage of steatohepatitis, which is when the inflammation is active and destroying liver cells daily. At this point, you start feeling extreme fatigue, abdominal pain, nausea, and your AST and ALT levels skyrocket. And if nothing is done, the body tries to repair this damage by creating scar tissue, which is fibrosis. And when this fibrosis spreads throughout the entire liver, you reach cirrhosis, which is irreversible and can lead to complete liver failure. Now, here's the crucial point that most people over 60 don't realize. The speed of this progression is much faster after 60 than in younger individuals, due to hormonal changes, decreased muscle mass, and the natural increase in insulin resistance that comes with aging. But at the same time, the capacity for reversal in the early stages is just as potent at any age, provided you know exactly what to do. Going back to Paulo's story I told you at the beginning, when he asked me if there was still hope, I looked at his tests and saw that despite severe steatosis, he hadn't yet developed significant fibrosis on the elastography. This meant the window for reversal was still open, but only just. I explained to him that we needed to act fast, and very specifically, because his liver was crying out for help, but it still had the capacity to respond. And that's when I introduced him to the protocol I'm about to reveal to you shortly. But before that, I need to ask you a very important question, and I want you to be completely honest with me in your answer. When you found out you had fatty liver, what was the first thought that crossed your mind? Was it the fear of dying? Was it guilt for not taking better care of your health when you were younger? Was it that devastating feeling that you'd wasted your best years and were now paying the price? Or was it that quiet thought you never admit to anyone, not even your spouse, that maybe you don't deserve to live anymore because you didn't take care of yourself? I know that last thought sounds extreme, but I hear it often in my office. People over 60 who feel a deep, paralyzing guilt, who believe they deserve to suffer the consequences of past choices. And I want to tell you something that will change your perspective. You didn't know what you didn't know. 30, 40 years ago, nobody talked about fatty liver. Nobody understood the connection between diet, insulin resistance, and liver disease. You did the best you could with the information you had at the time, and now you have the chance to do differently, to choose healing, to choose life. So I want you to comment below. Use these words if you like, or write them in your own. I have fatty liver and I choose to heal. Don't be ashamed, because by commenting, you are publicly committing to your health. You are creating a pact with yourself, and at the same time, you are showing hundreds of other people reading the comments that they are not alone in this fight. Comment now, because your participation here could be the push someone needs to also decide to change. I read all the comments and your story, your courage to admit you need help. It matters more than you can imagine. Now let's get to what really matters, the drink that can clear the fat from your liver. But before I give you the recipe, I need to explain the scientific mechanism behind it. Because if you don't understand why it works, you won't have the necessary motivation to maintain discipline for the next 90 days, which is the minimum time required to see significant results in your tests. There's a natural compound called polyphenols, which are extremely potent antioxidants found in certain plants, fruits, and herbs. They have the ability to do three things simultaneously in your liver. First, they activate enzymes that literally break down the accumulated fat in hepatocytes and release it into the bloodstream to be burned for energy. Second, they drastically reduce liver inflammation, preventing steatosis from progressing to steatohepatitis. And third, they improve the insulin sensitivity of liver cells, meaning your body stops converting every gram of sugar you eat into liver fat. A study conducted at the University of Barcelona in 2022 tested a specific combination of polyphenols in patients over 65 with moderate to severe steatosis, and the results were absolutely impressive. After 12 weeks of consuming this drink twice a day, 83% of participants had a significant reduction in liver fat measured by MRI. 76% normalized their AST and ALT levels, and 69% reported substantial improvement in fatigue and physical energy. But here's the detail most people don't know. This drink needs to be prepared in a very specific way, at the right temperature, with the ingredients in the exact proportions, and consumed at the ideal time of day. Otherwise, the polyphenols degrade and you won't get the therapeutic effect. The base recipe contains organic matcha green tea, which has the highest concentration of epigallocatechin gallate, EGCG, the most potent polyphenol for burning liver fat. This is combined with fresh Sicilian lemon juice, which increases the bioavailability of these compounds by up to 400%. Turmeric powder with black pepper, because curcumin is one of the most studied natural anti-inflammatories for liver disease, and the piperine in black pepper increases its absorption by 2,000%. And grated fresh ginger, which stimulates bile production and improves fat digestion. But it's not just a matter of throwing everything in a blender and calling it a day. There's a specific preparation technique that makes all the difference. You'll need a scant teaspoon of organic matcha powder, half a fresh squeezed lemon, half a teaspoon of turmeric powder, a tiny pinch of ground black pepper, a piece of fresh ginger about the size of a U.S. quarter, finely grated, and 8 ounces of filtered water. The secret is in the water temperature. It needs to be between 165 and 175 degrees Fahrenheit, never boiling, because water that's too hot destroys the green tea's catechins. Heat the water until tiny bubbles start forming at the bottom of the pot. Remove it from the heat, wait a minute, and then dissolve the matcha with a little of this water using a whisk or a mini frother until it forms a smooth paste with no clumps. Then add the rest of the warm water, stir in the turmeric, black pepper, grated ginger, and lemon juice. Mix well and drink immediately, because the active compounds start to oxidize after 15 minutes of exposure to air. The full protocol I gave Paulo was to drink this preparation twice a day. The first dose, first thing in the morning on an absolutely empty stomach, at least 30 minutes before breakfast, and the second dose in the late afternoon around 5 or 6 p.m., at least 2 hours after lunch and 1 hour before dinner. Why these specific times? Because chronobiology studies show that the liver's capacity to metabolize and eliminate toxins and fat is much higher in the morning on an empty stomach and in the late afternoon when cortisol is starting to drop and insulin levels are basal. And there's more. After taking the morning drink, you need to do at least 10 minutes of light walking or deep breathing exercises, because this increases liver blood flow and enhances the burning of fat that has just been mobilized by the polyphenols. But the drink alone doesn't work miracles, and I'd be dishonest if I told you it solves everything. It's an extremely powerful tool, perhaps the most powerful nutritional intervention available for fatty liver. But it needs to be part of a larger picture of dietary and lifestyle changes. And this is where another patient story comes in, perfectly illustrating this point. Mrs. Margarita, 68 years old, who started taking the drink religiously but continued eating white toast for breakfast, drinking diet soda with lunch, and having cookies in the afternoon. After 6 weeks, she returned frustrated, saying she hadn't seen any results on her follow-up tests. When I dug deep into her diet, it was clear she was sabotaging the drink's effect with food choices that continued to promote insulin resistance and liver fat deposition. I explained to her that the liver is like a bathtub overflowing with fat, and the drink acts like a very efficient drain, pulling that fat out. But if you keep the fat faucet running with an unhealthy diet, the tub will never empty. You'll only balance intake with output and get stuck. So, in addition to the drink, it's absolutely essential to cut out the main culprits of liver fat at the root. And these culprits have names. Refined sugar in any form, whether it's table sugar, honey, molasses, brown sugar, it doesn't matter. It all turns into fat in the liver within minutes. Refined wheat flour, which includes bread, pasta, cookies, cakes, pizza, anything made with white flour has the same effect on your liver as pure sugar. Refined vegetable oils like soybean oil, corn oil, canola oil, which are in practically all processed foods and cause severe liver inflammation, and alcohol in any amount, because even one glass of wine a day can completely prevent the reversal of fatty liver in people over 60. Now, you must be wondering, but then what can I eat? The answer is simple, but requires a shift in mindset. You need to go back to eating real food, the kind your grandma would recognize as food. Quality proteins like pasture-raised eggs, fish, organic chicken, grass-fed beef. Lots of dark leafy green vegetables like kale, spinach, arugula, broccoli. Healthy fats like avocado, extra virgin olive oil, nuts, chia, and flax seeds. And low glycemic carbohydrates like sweet potato, cassava, yams, and fruits with skin like apples and pears. When you combine this diet with the therapeutic drink twice a day, the magic happens. And I say magic because the results seem magical, but in reality, it's just biochemistry working in your favor. Let me tell you about Paulo's outcome, because it was truly emotional. He followed the protocol strictly for 90 days, took the drink religiously at the right times, cut out everything he needed to from his diet, and started walking for 30 minutes every morning after the drink. When he went back for his follow-up tests, I saw something that gave me chills. His SAGOT, which was at 210, dropped to 42. His SGPT, which was at 230, dropped to 38. And the ultrasound showed a drastic reduction in fat infiltration, moving from severe fatty liver to mild fatty liver. But the most incredible thing wasn't the numbers. It was seeing the sparkle in his eyes, his upright posture, the energy in his voice when he told me that, for the first time in years, he felt truly alive, that he had started taking long walks with his wife again, that he was planning a trip to Europe he had postponed for fear of getting sick far from home. He hugged me, tears in his eyes, and said something I will never forget. "Doctor, you didn't just give me back my health. You gave me back my will to live." Many people ask me how long it takes to see results, and the honest answer is that it depends on the initial degree of liver damage and your adherence to the protocol. In cases of mild to moderate fatty liver, you start feeling an improvement in energy and a reduction in fatigue within the first 2 weeks because inflammation begins to decrease rapidly. Liver enzyme tests typically start to normalize between 6 and 12 weeks in most cases, and a significant reduction in fat, visible on ultrasound, usually occurs between 3 and 6 months. But I've had patients with severe fatty liver who took a full year to completely reverse it, and others with moderate fatty liver who reversed it in just 4 months. Everybody is unique. Every metabolism responds at a different pace. But one thing is certain: if you do nothing, progression is guaranteed. And the older you get, the faster that progression becomes. Another frequently asked question is whether you can substitute matcha with regular tea bags. And the answer is no, definitely not. Matcha is the entire green tea leaf ground into an ultra-fine powder, meaning you're consuming the whole plant with its full concentration of polyphenols. Whereas with tea bags, you're just steeping, extracting a minimal fraction of the active compounds. The potency difference is at least tenfold, so if you truly want results, you need to invest in quality organic matcha, which costs between $20 and $30 for a 30-gram tin. That tin lasts about a month if you use 1 teaspoon per serving twice a day. It's a small investment compared to the cost of liver medication, frequent doctor visits, and especially compared to the incalculable value of regaining your health and quality of life. Some people ask if they can take the drink along with their existing medications for diabetes, high blood pressure, or cholesterol. Here, I need to be very clear. You should never stop or alter your medications without medical guidance, but this drink has no contraindications for use with most common medications. The only caution is if you take anticoagulants like warfarin, because the vitamin K present in matcha can interfere with the medication's effect. In those cases, you need to talk to your doctor and possibly adjust the anticoagulant dosage. Other than that, the drink is safe and can even help reduce the need for some medications long-term, as your liver recovers and your metabolism improves. And what about side effects? The drink is extremely safe when prepared correctly, but some people might experience mild gastrointestinal discomfort in the first few days, especially if they're not accustomed to ginger or turmeric, as these compounds stimulate bile and digestive juice production. If this happens to you, start with smaller doses like half a dose twice a day and gradually increase as your body adapts. Another thing that might happen is a slight increase in urinary frequency because polyphenols have a natural diuretic effect, which is actually positive as it helps eliminate toxins. However, it can be inconvenient if you take the drink late at night and end up having to get up to use the bathroom during the night. That's why I always recommend taking the last dose no later than 6 p.m. Now, I want to tell you about Mrs. Helena, 74 years old, who is one of the most inspiring cases I've ever followed. She arrived at the clinic practically carried in by her daughter with extreme fatigue, shortness of breath with the slightest exertion, swollen legs, and an abdomen so distended it looked like she was pregnant. Her tests showed severe fatty liver with early signs of fibrosis, sky-high liver enzymes, and uncontrolled diabetes. Her daughter was desperate because she had taken her mother to 3 different doctors, and all had given the same grim prognosis. At her age and with her condition, there wasn't much to do besides manage symptoms and wait for the natural progression of the disease. But I looked at Mrs. Helena and saw something the other doctors didn't. I saw determination, I saw a will to live, and most importantly, I saw that despite her advanced age and severe condition, she hadn't yet reached the point of no return. I started the protocol with her even more carefully and gradually than usual because her body was very weak, and I couldn't risk an adverse reaction. For the first 4 weeks, she took only 1 dose of the drink a day in the morning. We focused first on completely cutting out refined carbohydrates and increasing high-quality protein intake as she had severe sarcopenia, which is the loss of muscle mass common in older adults and significantly worsens liver prognosis. Only after a month, when she was stronger and her digestive symptoms had improved, did I introduce the second dose of the drink and intensify the nutritional protocol. And here's the crucial point many professionals overlook. With very elderly or very debilitated individuals, you can't make drastic changes. You have to respect the body's adaptation time, otherwise it backfires. It was 6 months of close monitoring with weekly adjustments to the protocol until we finally got the follow-up tests done. The transformation was so impressive that I asked them to repeat the tests because I thought there might have been an error. The fatty liver had regressed from severe to moderate, the enzymes had halved, her fasting blood sugar had normalized without needing to increase medication, and most importantly, Mrs. Helena had gotten her life back. She was walking on her own, preparing her own meals, tending to her garden, and told me with a huge smile that she had resumed playing dominoes with her friends every Thursday afternoon, a tradition she had abandoned 2 years ago because she lacked the energy or disposition to leave the house. Her story taught me something fundamental that I want you to engrave in your mind. It's never too late to reverse fatty liver regardless of your age or how advanced the condition is, as long as you haven't reached decompensated cirrhosis. The liver is an organ of extraordinary resilience, and it's literally begging you to give it the necessary conditions to heal. But it can't do it alone. It needs you to do your part, to make the difficult decisions, to change the habits that brought you to this situation, and to commit to consistency and discipline for the time needed for recovery. Many people tell me it's hard to maintain discipline, that it's hard to resist temptations, especially at social events, family gatherings, birthdays, where everyone is eating bread, cake, sweets, and drinking soda. And I completely understand this difficulty because we've been socially programmed to associate food with affection, celebration, and belonging. But I want you to reflect deeply. What's more important, pleasing people for a few hours by eating things that will slowly kill you, or momentarily disappointing them, but preserving your health to be present at many other parties and celebrations in the future? When you refuse that piece of cake at your grandson's party, maybe someone will make a face or call you boring. But when you are alive, strong, and healthy to see that same grandson graduate from college 15 years from now, you'll be grateful you made the right choice today. So let's recap everything you need to do from now on to clear the fat from your liver and regain your health. First, you're going to prepare the therapeutic drink with matcha, lemon, turmeric, black pepper, and ginger, exactly as I taught you, respecting the water temperature and the correct ingredient proportions. Second, you're going to drink this beverage twice a day on an empty stomach in the morning and in the late afternoon, always followed by at least 10 minutes of light movement. Third, you're going to completely eliminate sugar, white flour, refined vegetable oils, and alcohol from your diet. Without exception, no cheat days, no just a little bit won't hurt. Fourth, you'll build your meals based on quality protein, abundant vegetables, good fats, and low glycemic index carbohydrates. Fifth, you'll commit to doing this for at least 90 days before judging whether it's working or not, because the body needs time to adapt and respond. And sixth, you'll redo your lab tests after 3 months to objectively document the results and adjust the protocol if necessary. If you have fatty liver and are over 60, please give this video a like right now, because it shows me you're committed, you're paying attention, and it motivates me to keep bringing this type of content to you. And I also want you to comment your current AST and ALT levels below, because when you come back in 3 months to share your new results, you'll have a public record of your transformation, and that will serve as inspiration for thousands of other people who are just starting out. Don't be ashamed of high numbers. Everyone here is in the same fight, and the more transparent you are, the more you help create this supportive community that's so essential for long-term success. I also want you to share this video with someone you love who is going through the same situation. It could be your spouse, a sibling, a friend, someone from church or your social group, because information that isn't shared is wasted information, and maybe you'll be the instrument that saves that person's life. Many people die of liver cirrhosis every year simply because they didn't know it was reversible, because no one ever explained to them that there was an accessible, natural, and scientifically proven solution. So by sharing this video, you are literally saving lives, and that's a beautiful responsibility that I hope you embrace. In the upcoming videos, I'll delve deeper into each aspect of this protocol. I'll teach you specific recipes for each meal of the day. I'll show you how to do exercises adapted for those with physical limitations or joint pain. I'll teach you how to interpret your lab results yourself, so you don't have to depend entirely on your doctor to know if you're improving or worsening. And I'll bring more real-life cases of patients who reversed situations that seemed impossible. But so you don't miss any of these videos, you need to be subscribed to the channel with the notification bell activated, because YouTube doesn't show my content to those who aren't subscribed. And it would be a shame for you to miss out on information that could make all the difference in your recovery. I know you might be feeling overwhelmed right now with so much information, and it's normal to feel that way. But I want you to take a deep breath and understand something very important. You don't have to do everything perfectly from day one. You can start by just implementing the drink in the morning and cutting out sugar. Then the next week, add the second dose of the drink and cut out flour. And the week after that, introduce the walks, and so on. What matters isn't the speed of change, it's consistency. It's better to go slow and stick with it forever than to do everything at once, feel suffocated, and give up in the second week. Your liver waited decades accumulating fat. It can wait a few more months to heal completely, as long as you're walking in the right direction every day. And always remember, you are not doing this alone. I'm here, bringing new content every week, answering questions in the comments, adjusting protocols as new research emerges. And there are thousands of other people in this community who are on the same journey as you, facing the same challenges, celebrating the same victories. So use this space in the comments to connect, to share your struggles, to ask for help when you need it, and especially to celebrate every small achievement, every improved lab test, every symptom that diminished. Every day you woke up with more energy, because these small victories accumulated over the months transform into the big victory of complete health recovery. I'll sign off now, but we'll see you in the next video, where I'll teach you exactly how to put together a complete 7-day meal plan with breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks, all designed specifically for those with fatty liver over 60. Taking into account the special nutritional needs of this stage of life, the taste preferences of the American palate, and most importantly, practicality, because I know you don't want to spend hours in the kitchen preparing complicated recipes. It will be a practical guide you can start using immediately, so don't miss it, and see you next time.